teaching children about kindness is just as important as teaching them about the core curriculum such as math or science, because it really helps them become better humans, care for each other, and learn how to empathize with one another. This essentially helps with classroom diversity, with any sort of behavioral issues you might have, and it does take a lot of time. It doesn't just happen overnight. But if you are having classroom management issues, or if you've got behavioral issues that are through the roof, teaching your children about kindness, patience, understanding is very, very important. Now, I've written out a much more detailed description about why it's important, but you can read that on my blog, and I'll actually link to that. We're going to go right into the actionable steps. The first one is called Deck the Board. I know I've come up with some funky names here. But what you're going to be doing here is you're going to download some just simple templates for your children to write on. And on that, you're going, so for me, I used little sunshine, little suns, I guess you could call it. And you're going to put them in a visible spot so that your children know exactly where they are, and they're going to be taking a template, and every time they do something kind or a kind action to their classmates or someone in school, they're going to write it down and hand it to you. When you have a few, I'd start putting it up on your bulletin board so that it's visible. So I did something like this for 100th day of school. We decided to do 100 acts of kindness, and so I took those suns and I put them up when we didn't have too many, as to serve as motivation, and our goal was to reach 100. And we definitely did. The kids were so motivated to get that, that it was just so exciting, and people were reading it and just coming by our board all the time. Did it take a long time for me to put it up and take it down? Oh heck yes. Was it worth it? Absolutely, because the children were motivated, they were on this kindness track, and then they got to showcase it to their parents after, because we took it down and we actually put it in, they put their acts of kindness in their art books. But I also took a picture of it and sent it to their parents, so it was kind of fun to do all of it. So you could integrate it in any way that you want in your curriculum. I will definitely try to remember to actually post a picture of what we did on my bulletin board, on my blog, so you can take a look underneath this step. The second one is fill the jar. So this is pretty simple. All you need to do is get a transparent or see-through jar, and you're going to have, again, templates, and your kids, or even just pieces of paper really, and your kids are going to write acts of kindness that they do on it, and you're going to fold it up and you're going to put it in, they're going to put it into the jar every time they write a different act of kindness. You can use color paper if you'd like as well. And once they fill it up, you could have a little incentive party or something. You can read it to them, whatever works for you. We'll talk more about an incentive party later in step 4. Step number 3 though is called the player. So here we're going to be looking at building our ability to get to know each other through cooperative games. So an example of this would be, you could group kids into 6 or 10 depending on how big your class is, and you're going to take a ball and you're going to toss it in the air, and each of your groups their goal is to keep the ball up in the air as long as they possibly can, and you are going to time them with your phone. But the thing is here is that they are not competing against each other. Their goal is to compete against themselves. What they're essentially doing is, if they were able to keep the ball up for 5 minutes, their second goal is now, let's see if we can go for 6, 7, 8, to extend their time in their circuit. No child is sitting down to look at each other, so everyone is playing the game, and everyone is trying to beat their own score, so they're learning to work together and cooperate with one another. Helps them feel a lot more relaxed, and this is how you'll get the kindness coming out of them. Okay? The fourth one is love them all. So here what you're going to do is try and find an activity that they can all do together. So for a charity, sorry. So what charity do you want to support as a class? You're going to figure that out. You're going to brainstorm it, figure it out, run it by administration so that it adheres to your school's values. Then you're going to set a timeline for when you're going to complete each task, like maybe how are you going to fundraise for it. Once you have some set dates, email your parents so that they're on board as well and they can support you as well. So We've looked at the importance of teaching kindness in your classroom, and we've looked at 4 different activities. The activities are, the first one was deck the board, the second was fill the jar, the third was the player, so cooperative games, and the fourth one was love them all. I hope you teach your children about kindness because it's such an important skill to learn. In the meantime, remember to create, experience, and teach from the heart. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.